I'm looking forward to the lineup of speakers tonight because they've been selected to share some amazing thoughts around what they do and also concepts that they're busy with in their work. So the story starts October last year. My family and I, we often go for walks along the Dodder River, and we were taking a nice stroll one day, and my daughter, she's 7 years old, Ava, and she was skipping along as 7-year-olds do, and she spotted a big 5-liter plastic bottle in the water, and she said to me, "Mommy, how in the world did that get there?" As I was looking around, the Rhino was covered in plastic, and there was a shampoo bottle there and a beer can, and I just thought, oh dear, what's happened here? But since then, our walks actually changed forever. We now hit the river and we take our litter pickers, those the little forks, and sturdy carry bags and rubber gloves. We need rubber gloves for picking up the really stinky stuff, as well as waders. Okay, I don't wear the waders, but my daughter does. And we have a mission now when we head out to the river. Apart from fun and exercise, our mission is towards the oceans and the rivers and to help clean them up. However, as I was picking up the litter, I realized that I was merely treating the symptoms and not the cause of the problem. Here I was, standing downstream, literally and figuratively, trying to pick some of the 8 million tons of plastic heading towards our ocean. I realized that I had to do something. So this is us, just a few photos of us on our river walks and also Sandymount. And there's me, literally and figuratively, in the river. And my daughter, little waders, and my husband, John. And we're also here in Sandymount, so this is why we are very important to have our rubber gloves, because Sandymount is highly polluted, as we know, with sewage. And these are my beautiful feet over there on South Pier. And South Pier, I don't know if any of you go for walks there, but there's a lot of plastic stuck in the rocks at all times. And we, as a family, go and collect driftwood to make furniture and things. And while we're there, we actually try and clear up the plastic that's there. So often we're walking away with 2 carry bags of plastic to throw that away. When I launched into looking into this problem, I realized that it was a really, really huge issue, and that my efforts to cut down plastic were really not going to cut it. In the 1950s, we were producing 2 million tons of plastic annually. Today, we are trending to produce close to 350 million tons of plastic annually. 8 million tons of that plastic is flowing towards the ocean to join 150 million tons of plastic that's already there. Clothes, toys, bedding, electronics, food trays, cups, and paints all contain plastic. We sleep on it, we wear it, we watch it, we eat, drink, and breathe it. Sugar and shellfish, bottled water, tap water, beer, unfortunately, processed food, table salt, and soft drinks all contain plastic. Microplastics are leaching into the soil and the water and affect our marine life and entering our food chain. It affects our biodiversity, our economies, and our health. By 2050, it's expected that there's going to be more plastic in the ocean than fish, and that the plastic is going to be contributing to 13% of the CO2 emissions. Plastic is not biodegradable. It breaks down into microplastics, or microplastic particles, should I say. Enters the air, the soil, and the water we drink. Do you know that it takes 400 to 1,000 years for plastic to decompose? And I'm not sure if you saw the article about 90% of the bottled water containing microplastics, and that was in 11 brands. There's a study that shows that we are consuming approximately 5 grams of microplastic a week, and that's the size of a credit card. That's seriously concerning. I love this analogy. You walk into the kitchen and your kitchen tap is overflowing. You've got a mop, a bucket, some dishcloths. What do? We switch off the tap. And this this is what, when I looked at this, I realized this is the problem we actually faced with. It's not dealing with recycling or being a fantastic recycler. It's about curbing the plastic production. I don't know about you, but I'm a pretty darn good recycler. But I realized that recycling was not the solution, but the last resort. So I came to the conclusion that I had to do a lot more if I was going to make a difference. We live in a time where single-use plastics and plastic bottles are being produced with a take, waste, make mindset. Did you know that 2/3 of our kitchen plastic is unrecyclable? It ends up in the landfill or in the incinerator. That's a big problem. I discovered a few concerns and challenges that we have. Recycling efforts are failing to keep up with production. The water treatment plants are unable to filter the microplastics that are heading into the ocean. Microplastics contributing to climate change. And we are faced with a potential mass extinction of marine animals. A few things I did. Okay, so apart from using these ones, so beeswax wraps are really quite revolutionary because they replace cling film and tin foil. I also discovered that there's a zero waste dental floss. So dental floss is made of plastic usually, and this one's actually really amazing. A big one I use now is toothpaste. I've eliminated toothpaste tubes, and I use these amazing tablets which come in little paper bags and really work amazingly. I also started making our own body lotions and cleaning products. So this is actually twofold. You're going chemical free, but you're also going plastic free because you're either using your glass jars or old recycled or old plastic bottles that you have in your home. Other changes I made was heading to the shops and taking cloth bags along, taking my containers to the store and using those containers and trying not to use the foods that were already wrapped in single-use plastics. I avoid frozen convenience food at all costs. I avoid products with microplastics. I try and buy second-hand items. My most favorite part is going to go buy designer clothing when I have enough money. Face wipes, I realized, contain plastic. So what I've done now is actually looked for reusable wipes that I can use, and I no longer buy those face wipes that are also wrapped in single-use plastic. I also, wherever possible, I borrow instead of buy. So this is moi. My very proud new purchase was the mesh bags that I use for fresh produce. And this is my secret ingredient, which I can't entirely share with you, all the amounts of making the body lotion, but I can say that there's olive oil, coconut oil, and beeswax in there. There's the zero waste dental floss, and then the bees wrap for food wraps. I've also gone into making our own dried fruit. For anyone who's been to South Africa, you'll also know about biltong, I'm sure. Biltong is dried meat or jerky, if you know the Australians. And so this is the machine that we do that in, but I've actually converted it to a dried fruit maker, which is pretty cool. So the way forward, I believe we need to be heading back to basics to reduce our reliance on plastics. I believe we need to be pushing back on production to reduce the demand. Consumers and producers need to adopt a circular plastic mindset, and recycled plastics need to find their way home to a new product. We also need to be investing in sustainable innovations such as bio-based products that are 100% reusable, recyclable, and compostable. Individuals and businesses play a big part in leading the change towards circular economy. Thank you.
Amazing.